An update on Durham's economy, significant progress for the Northeast Central Durham Livability Initiative, and protecting innocent victims from random gunfire. We invite you to join us now as we take you inside City Hall this week. Hello, I'm Amy Blaylock. Welcome to City Hall this week, dedicated to keeping you informed about what's going on inside Durham City Hall. We begin with the state of Durham's economy. The city's annual State of the Economy breakfast was held on March 29th at the Durham Performing Arts Center. Elected, civic, and business leaders joined many others of the Durham community for an update on how the city's economy fared in 2010.
But 2010 did bring its share of challenges with the economy. But there were many accomplishments in which Durham could take pride.
Office of Economic and Workforce Development Director Kevin Dick reported that there are a disproportionately high number of jobs being created in Durham compared to the rest of the Triangle, in large part because of some major corporate recruitments and expansions in 2010.
These 12 companies span various industries such as information technology, biotechnology, the automotive industry, research and development, and aerospace, and combined for over $634 million in announced capital investment and the creation of over 2,300 jobs in 2010.
The numbers show that growth wasn't only limited to big business. Small businesses struggling to get capital from traditional sources were able to turn to a number of public-private partnerships to get the funding and support they needed as well.
Over $564,000 in public investment yielding over $2.7 million in capital investment. In case anyone's doing quick math, that's $1 of public money for every $5 of private. So I think I have some business leaders in the room that would appreciate a 500% return on any investment, right?
Another significant development last year was an effort to attract budding entrepreneurs to Durham and keep them here. One example of that is the Bull City Stampede.
The Bull City Stampede will begin April 1st and place budding entrepreneurs in great street-level space at 201 West Main Street. They received a whopping 78 applications for this program for only 15 slots, and we received worldwide attention from over 15 countries and 156 cities.
Some of the other key statistics show that Durham's unemployment rate is still well below that of the state and the nation, and that the average weekly wage is pacing ahead of the Triangle and North Carolina.
So what this says is that we have the opportunities in terms of the job opportunities. We have the amenities like the DPAC and great restaurants that attract firms and workers. We have the entrepreneurial spirit that's being brought forward by local organizations. We have the educational institutions. We have what it takes to be mobile and global, but we cannot rest on our laurels.
Accomplishments Lieutenant Governor Walter Dalton also applauded when he took the podium.
I'm excited to be in Durham today because you are becoming a model for others. You know what you're doing right and you know where you are going, and that's the reason you are a model.
For more information about the State of the Economy report, visit the Office of Economic and Workforce Development's homepage on the city's website. Meantime, the city's resolution establishing an economic development financial assistance and incentive policy for job creation and capital investment has been revised.
The policy is a document that does three primary things. Number one, it provides an incentive for business owners and property owners to redevelop their properties and/or purchase and install equipment that will upgrade the properties, make them more rentable and make them more useful. So it essentially takes vacant and underutilized properties and makes them activated properties that the public can benefit from. A second benefit of the policy is to encourage and incentivize business owners and property owners to engage in projects that will create jobs and create contracting opportunities for local businesses. And thirdly, the policy allows a program that where the city can help commercial commercial properties and commercial business owners by helping them access capital that is very difficult to obtain now from traditional lenders.
The policy was established in 2008 and revised again last year. The resolution approved by the City Council on April 4th makes another round of changes, all working towards stimulating economic growth in key areas of the city.
The primary changes that are proposed to be made to the policy include making it more easily understandable and flexible for applicants of the programs that have been formed as a part of the policy. Also, it adds a facade grant component to the existing sign grant component that provides more options for the potential applicant and actually provides more benefit to the city, seeing that applicants will now be able to not only install signs but improve the outsides of their buildings, so it will improve the appearance of the areas where those buildings are located. It also solidifies the timeline for project completion, making it mandatory that projects must be completed within 12 months of council approval or city manager approval for a particular project. Another change is that it renames an existing component of the policy to the Retail and Professional Services Grant Program.
City staff says the changes were necessary to strengthen certain economic development incentive programs and to provide greater consistency for others. The current policy applies to the downtown development tier, the community development area outside the downtown development tier, and targeted areas in the urban growth area. One of the areas the city is trying to make sure benefits from that type of assistance is Northeast Central Durham. But those programs are only in addition to the exciting things happening in that part of the city because of the involvement of the people who live there. The City Council received an update on the Northeast Central Durham Livability Initiative during its March 24th work session. The goal of this citizen-led initiative is to help create a sustainable community by bridging the programs of several federal agencies. The first component of the initiative focuses on workforce and economic development, an area that has already seen many accomplishments.
We have created and attracted innovative small businesses, which there are examples of there, Joe's Diner, the Union Independent School, the John O'Daniel Business Exchange, and I think even more recently, the TROSA organization is also there. We've adopted as our first as our pilot project for the Economic and Workforce Development Scheme Team to adopt the Andrew Driver Corridor in light of the fact that the streetscape monies are being allocated to the Andrew Driver Corridor, along with additional funding of $3.5 million. We thought that would be an excellent spot to test our economic development wings, and since there's already money coming there, that it'd be a good place to start our work.
The total workforce and economic investment in the area so far is about $5.7 million. The second area of focus is to provide a safe and healthy environment.
Some of our accomplishments include the Uplift East Durham Open Home Tour. We are very familiar with home tours, open home tours in Durham, and it's a great opportunity to increase awareness of the neighborhood and to increase home ownership opportunities within our neighborhoods. We partnered with the Multifunctional Green Space, one of the other subcommittees, the Neighborhood Energy Retrofit Program, and with ComNet to do a neighborhood cleanup in one of the Neighborhood Energy Retrofit neighborhoods, or one of the neighborhoods selected for that program. We also implemented a residential energy reduction program. This was in partnership with Clean Energy Durham. Clean Energy Durham hired 2 part-time staff members that are residents of Northeast Central Durham, and what the residents have been hired to do is to identify and to recruit Northeast Central Durham residents to host do-it-yourself energy workshops within their homes.
Residents are also starting a walking club based at Holton Career and Resource Center, as well as learning how to prevent common preventable diseases. The initiative's third area of focus is coordinated public transportation, which has seen a number of accomplishments as well.
We have been working with TTA and data. We have been focusing on the bus stops and shelters, improving lighting at the stops. The R. Kelly Bryant Bridge was something that was already working, and as we all know, it is completed. It's lit up to welcome people into Durham as they come in, and we hear many positive. Just the other day, somebody told me, I love coming through Durham. I look for those blue lights. So it's a good thing, and we're really proud to say that we have that here in Durham to represent people coming in and acknowledging Durham, North Carolina. We're also looking into bringing the Bull City Rider into the Andrew Driver corridor.
The final component of the initiative focuses on multifunctional community open spaces. Some of the future goals are to connect the trails from the R. Kelly Bryant Jr. pedestrian bridge to the rest of the city, and to establish raised bed gardens at Eastway Elementary to go with the trees that have already been planted there. The initiative is also looking at housing itself and what could be called the Durham Urban Design Center, which would include other programs as well. Approximately 75 residents from Northeast Central Durham and the surrounding area will be receiving valuable job training thanks to the Environmental Protection Agency's Brownfields Program. The city will use a $143,000 grant from the EPA to pay Durham Tech to provide the training. The goal is for participants to use the environmental technology skills they learn to compete for and earn positions in the green job markets. Durham Tech has been providing Brownfields job training for the city since 2008. Potentially unsafe railroad crossings throughout Durham will soon be getting a closer look. Find out why when City Hall This Week continues.
Butler residents? Everything that gets into our storm drains, soap, pesticides, pet waste, whatever, makes its way straight to our streams and into where you swim, what you drink, and where you fish. Stormwater runoff is our biggest source of water pollution. You're the solution now that you know where it goes.
Mom!
What?
You can't find Ichabod.
What?
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of teens in foster care who would love to put up with you.
Come on.
How you feel? How you feel?
I'm feeling good. Spin me, spin me.
Got you.
Oh, goodness. Oh.
Welcome back. Transportation planners are asking for your feedback once again on the future of the Highway 54 I40 corridor between Durham and Chapel Hill. This open house was held on March 29th as a transportation infrastructure study of the area entered its second phase.
The NC54 I40 Corridor Study is an integrated land use transportation study that's designed to look at current and future problems within that corridor. Our goal is to develop a set of land use and transportation alternatives that can help us address future growth.
During the open house, residents had a chance to weigh in on the second round of recommendations stemming from a draft report that was completed last summer. The initial report went through a 4-month public review process. That process highlighted several key issues of public concern that are now addressed in the new recommendations.
The purpose of tonight's open house is really to address the roadway alternatives within this particular study. There were a lot of concerns during the initial draft that some of the recommendations that were put forth were really too extensive for this area. So the public wanted us to go back and take another look, to see if we could develop some more innovative strategies. So that's what we're talking about at the current open house. Other items that will be addressed during the Phase 2 analysis is a more comprehensive analysis of park and ride facilities. The thought here is that if we can get folks out out of their cars sooner, that will definitely help traffic congestion in the corridor. And then there were other concerns that the recommended land use for this corridor was really too intense. It was a little too much. We recognize that we want it to be transit supportive, but folks really felt like that we needed to go back and take another look and maybe look at alternatives that were less dense, less intense.
If you couldn't attend the open house, the new draft recommendations are available on the project website at nc54-I40 Corridor Study.com. After this public comment phase of the project is over, planners will take all the input they've gathered and come up with another set of alternatives that will be part of the final recommendation. Redundant and potentially unsafe highway and railroad crossings throughout Durham will be coming under closer scrutiny. As part of that process, the State Department of Transportation will conduct a traffic separation study to determine whether any of the city's at-grade crossings should be improved or eliminated.
At-grade crossings are those locations where motorists or pedestrians have to stop for an oncoming train at an intersection. And because there's an intersection, there's a risk of accidents or injuries or fatalities. So they're riskier than, say, grade separated intersections, which are separated by bridges, and therefore there is no possibility or risk of accidents.
The study will look at public crossings on the tracks of CSX Transportation and Norfolk Southern Railway along the corridor between East Cornwallis and Neal Roads.
Traffic separation study is a comprehensive review of all the at-grade crossings. In this case, it'll be a review of all the crossings along the North Carolina Railroad corridor, extending from Neal Road west of downtown through the downtown area and then east to Cornwallis Road and Research Triangle Park. And part of the study will include an evaluation of all the crossings to determine whether there are any that are redundant that could be eliminated, or if there are any crossings that would benefit by grade separating them, and the other locations to determine whether they would benefit from additional warning devices or safety improvement measures which could reduce accidents, injuries, or fatalities.
Because of increasing pedestrian activity downtown, the study will also include an evaluation of pedestrian safety and access needs along the corridor between Chapel Hill Street and Roxborough Street. The study is expected to take 18 months and will include an extensive public input process. The city will pay $20,000 toward the cost of the study. The company that has managed the city's parking garages and public parking lots for the past 3 years will continue to do so for the next 3. The City Council approved a $4.4 million contract amendment for the service with Lanier Parking Systems of Durham. The company is responsible for operating, managing, and providing maintenance for 4 of the city's 5 parking garages and all 14 city-owned parking lots. This contract extension ends in July of 2014. Big changes are on the way for Durham's plan to end homelessness. We'll show you what they are and why they're needed when City Hall This Week continues.
Howdy ho, neighbor. Why are you working so hard? Gotta cut this grass. Whoa, son. You need to plant some no-maintenance trees and bushes along there. Yeah, your fertilizer is getting into the water. That causes algae to grow and fish to die. Yeah, plus, trees and bushes keep the yard from eroding and protect that creek. You're right. I'm gonna get my planting tools.
Late fall is a great time to plant trees. Learn more at nccleanwater.org.
Lead paint poisoning affects over 1 million children today. Dust from lead-based paint could cause violent behavior. If your home was built before 1978, log on to leadfreekids.org.
Did you know that over-fertilizing your lawn wastes money, hurts your grass, and pollutes our reservoirs by feeding problem-causing algae? So if you fertilize your lawn, find out what kind of grass you have and how to care for it. Don't fertilize if heavy rain is forecast, and never leave fertilizer on driveways or sidewalks. Remember, clean water begins at home. A message from the North Carolina Clean Water Education Partnership. Learn more at nccleanwater.org.
Welcome back. The issue of celebratory gunfire remains a problem in Durham, but it's one the police department says it will continue to address with officers, not technology.
Celebratory gunfire is the indiscriminate firing of a weapon in the air. during some type of celebratory event such as Cinco de Mayo, 4th of July, or New Year's. And it's extremely dangerous because if you fire a weapon in the air, a gun, that projectile has to come down at some point, and it comes down at such a velocity, usually at 700 feet per second, that could actually penetrate the roof of a home, the roof of a business, and if it struck somebody in the head, it could actually penetrate someone's skull, which could cause death. Last year in DeKalb County, Georgia, a 4-year-old boy was sitting next to his mother during a church service. Someone outside of the sanctuary fired a weapon in the air. That bullet penetrated the roof, hit the boy in the head, and actually killed him. So it is extremely dangerous.
The question of whether gunshot detection technology would help to deter random gunfire or at least enable a more effective response by officers was recently raised by several community groups. That question prompted a reevaluation of the systems by the police department and whether they would be beneficial to Durham.
Gunshot detection technology is a series of acoustic sensors that are either posted on buildings or on poles in a particular target area. When a sensor picks up a gunshot, it sends a signal to software that can actually detect the location that the gunshot was fired from. It is very similar to earthquake location technology.
Despite those capabilities, the police department study found that the technology would not be worth such a large investment by the city.
The department doesn't believe that it's cost effective. We've researched this, we've contacted a number of manufacturers that make the technology, and we've also contacted a number of departments that use it. In order to put it in an area of 1.5 square miles, it would cost $250,000 to purchase the arrays that it would take to cover that 1.5 square miles. But that doesn't cover, that $250,000 does not include yearly maintenance costs and other costs associated with the entire program. To put that in perspective, that's 1.5 square miles. Durham is 103 square miles. So you can do the math. It would cost millions of dollars to cover even a small portion of the city. We contacted several departments, and none could give me arrest data. If I'm going to spend this amount of money on a piece of equipment, I want to know that I'll be able to apprehend the people that are actually shooting weapons in the city limits. And it doesn't appear that this technology is going to give us the ability to do that. Usually people that fire weapons do not stay in a particular location very long. Our response time to priority 1 calls is 5 minutes or less. A lot of times it's much less than 5 minutes, but a person is not going to stay in a particular area for 5 minutes waiting for us to arrive. Just last week, we had an individual fire a weapon over a house. We were able to catch him as well as the other people involved in that by citizens calling in information on the suspect as well as the vehicle that they left in. So we feel that we have a much better chance of catching people doing this with citizen involvement than with the use of this particular technology.
Residents who hear gunfire or see someone discharge a weapon are encouraged to call 911. Meantime, the police department is investing in new state-of-the-art in-car video systems. Phase 1 of the $356,000 project will replace the existing systems in 30 vehicles. The new systems are expected to provide improved video quality for use as evidence, enhanced digital file security, automated compliance with file retention policies, and disaster recovery processes. The city and county's efforts to end homelessness in Durham are undergoing a reorganization. During its March 24th work session, the City Council approved a plan that would move oversight of the homeless prevention plans, continuing of care programs, and the 10-year plan to end homelessness to the city's Community Development Department.
We feel that Durham Affordable Housing, which has been administering the program, has done a great job, but we need to accelerate that job. I think the primary changes that we're going to see now that it's leaving the Durham Affordable Housing Coalition and coming over to the city is that we will be trying to work with all of the providers that provide services in a different fashion. Previously, those providers sat on a board of directors that administered the program. We're going to try and keep that at an arm's length here so that there's nobody saying there might be a conflict of interest or preference shown to anyone. And also, we are going to take a look at some of the really hard issues. For example, what about those people that are drinking all the time and are homeless? There hasn't been a way to address them. The shelters can't take somebody that's drinking. And the city's going to take a look at how we deal with those issues. So we're going to bring a perspective that's slightly different in the sense that we haven't been in that business and now we're going to be in that business. And also we're going to work hand in glove with the county, which is a slight difference and change.
City staff says the changes were needed for a number of reasons, not the least of which was to be in compliance with a new federal strategic plan to prevent and end homelessness.
There's been a lot of discussion about changes for a while. At the national level, homelessness has been an issue going back to President Clinton and to some degree before then. And each year the federal government takes a look at it and allocates money and looks at different ways of resolving the problem. Under the Obama administration, they've started a program called Opening Doors, which is slightly different than the 10-year plan to end homelessness. So one of the reasons we're making changes is to try and do a better job and to try and take advantage of federal programs as they come down the pike.
Since the federal plan is called Opening Doors, Durham's plan is being renamed Opening Doors in Durham to prevent and end homelessness. While the city will oversee that program, the county will be taking on different responsibilities.
The county, on the other hand, through the Durham Center, has offered some wonderful, wonderful programs that deal with specific issues that keep people homeless or that cause them to be homeless.
2 employees are expected to be hired to work on the city side of the programs, while the county is expected to hire 1. Another step forward for the city's energy efficiency efforts. Find out yet another way Durham is saving money and the environment when City Hall This Week continues.
Take my hand and start a brand new day. And together as one we'll start to see some change.
Underneath everything we are, underneath everything we do, we are all people, connected, interdependent, united. And when we reach out a hand to one, we can influence the condition of all. That's what it means to live united.
There's a place, not so far away, a place where you don't have to keep the volume down. You'll find all sorts of creatures in this place without have to. The silly you, the proud you. You may even meet the curious you.
It's tickling me! You!
Ask your parents to take you to this not-so-far-away place. Come to the forest, where the other you lives. But first, stop by discovertheforest.org.
When you adopt a child from foster care, just being there makes all the difference.
Welcome back. The city has taken another important step toward becoming more energy efficient. Firefighters in stations 8, 14, and 16 are joining 2 other Durham fire stations in using solar energy for their hot water needs. The systems will preheat water using energy from the sun so that existing boilers are now used significantly less. The project is expected to save an estimated $900 annually at current energy prices and will conserve an estimated 100,000 cubic feet of natural gas. And if you're looking for a way to help keep the environment healthy, especially right in your own backyard, the city is here to help. The City County Sustainability Office is partnering with Black & Decker to host 2 Get Your Grass Off Gas events. The events will allow you to trade in your old gas-guzzling mowers and other yard equipment and get steep discounts on cleaner and greener versions. The first event will be held on Saturday, April 9th from 10 a.m. until 3 p.m. at Northern High School. The second event will be held on Saturday, May 14th from 10 a.m. until 3 p.m. at Jordan High School. That does it for this edition of City Hall This Week. Be sure and visit DTV8 on Facebook and Twitter to find out how you can tune into this show, City Life, and all the city's programming. You can also find us on demand on the city's website at durhamnc.gov/DTV8. I'm Amy Blaylock. Thank you for joining us for City Hall This Week.